Day. As well, I'll get into it in just a minute. Give me a moment to get over to mod view, just because it's a more convenient layout for me. There we go. So today, after a one-day break brought on by me being just a little busy last night, we are going to friggin' war. If you recall last time, after multiple streams where, after not having played this game since my first playthrough, which was really rough, obviously, it being my first experience with the series, years and years and years ago, not too long after it came out, we had a couple streams that were fantastic. I surprised myself frequently by cutting down bosses pretty easily. Bosses that typically give myself and some others a bit of trouble. I guess we just, by sheer luck more than anything else, had a pretty decent build, and I've gotten much better at, like, dodging and punishing attacks very quickly with this light build. But we just hit a friggin' wall down under Firelink Shrine in the ghost and Sith-riddled ruins of New Londo. And the Four Kings, the boss down there, is practically impossible for me to handle in my current state. So, friends, we are going to war. The entire objective of today's stream is to bring down the Four Kings of New Londo, and I've done a little bit of reading to see what options would be most viable for a build that's already progressed this far, since, again, this is not a DPS build. It's not meant to whittle down really big creatures really quickly. And I came across some viable options for us. Now, first and foremost, I was correct in saying that the Four Kings deal primarily magical damage. So I'm checking to see if there's anything we have that has superior magical defense here, and the answer is yes. Holy crap, the Xanthus set appears to be even better than the Painted Guardian set in that regard. So King Jeremiah's stuff, well, Havel's gloves are better. Havel's armor is better. But nothing has better magic defense than the hood. That's interesting that, like, the entire set doesn't have, on average, better defense. So, we are going to look like trash. And we are fat rolling. What? Why? Oh, because we don't have Havel's ring. That's right. Okay. What if we replace that with, say, a pyromancy flame, and nope, still too much. We can still use the Xanthus gloves. They're good, they're just not that good. Right? And nothing else would be better? So yeah, the Xanthus gloves. There we go. We could probably even whip out our banishment catalyst like this, right? Yes, we can. And we do a medium roll, so okay, this is serviceable. We get, like, some serious defense all around from this big old bulky chest piece. Lots of magic defense from the hood, gloves, and waistcloth, I think it is, right? Yes, so we should be ugly, not exactly styling, but fine. Now, next in our little battle strategy, we have to go deliver this ember to our buddy Andre, because this will allow us to refine our rapier even further, dealing much more damage around the board. So if we go to the parish, and first things first, hunt some enemies outside the bonfire for just a minute to collect some souls, we can use those Titanite chunks, you know, like the ones the Dark Wraiths have been dropping, to improve our weapon probably up to at least plus 13 or 14. 15 we might not want to do yet, because I'm pretty sure that consumes the Titanite slab we got from the Stray Demon, and I don't really know if I want this to be the best weapon we have all playthrough, or the most refined. So sorry, there is going to be some grinding, but as powerful as our weapon already is, I promise you this will be fast. And hopefully there won't be too much of it. So the strategy I found, the one that seems most viable, there are of course strategies for easily dispatching them with strength builds, or with magic builds. Again, this is the point in the game where sorcery, if you've just been dumping tons of points into, well, faith to a lesser extent, but especially intelligence, if you're using sorceries, will just devastate your enemies easily. So the 4 kings can be taken down with magic pretty easily, as I understand it. But since both of those would require full character respecs, and unlike Dark Souls 2 or I believe Dark Souls 3, we can't really respec in this game, the best, most viable strategy I found actually revolves around using pyromancy to temporarily, at fairly high cost, drastically increase our attack output to allow us to just, and wear heavy magic resistant armor like this, to allow us to just burn the kings down really, really easily. With the trade-off being the spell we're going to use to buff our damage output is going to constantly be draining our health, so we're going to have to keep an eye on that. Now, the Ring of Favor and Protection is going to help a lot as well, just because it gives us so many sizable stat boosts, including to health, which, you know, matters here. God, now get out! Ah! I do love that that happens in this remaster. I don't recall it happening in the original, though I could be wrong. I think these ragdolls are some of the best parts of the game. Myself. And we do have all those souls we can burn. I know. Now, once we get rid of the 4 kings, by my estimation, of the bosses, like main story bosses that remain, none should give me so much trouble, even though one of them's kind of notorious for causing player deaths regardless of whether it's considered hard or not, and another is just hell to get to. And then we have the DLC bosses, which aside from seeing other people fight them, like when I would be curious to see how certain Let's Players and the like handle Dark Souls, I have no first-hand experience with, so I've no idea where they're gonna rank. Apparently, if you head into the DLC sort of late game like we're doing, it's perfectly manageable. And has lots of cool little goodies for you, so we shall see. And I'm curious, is our dragon buddy going to be back? Nope, guess we've got to warp out and come from the other direction. Well, alright then. Once we get these guys, we should have more than enough souls for a couple upgrades. Or we can use a consumable. Oh, there he is. Good. Now, he will land on the bridge if we get close enough. I think. Oh, no, you don't. Really? Alright, I see you. Huh. Safe zone? Does it come down, or do we have to hurt it? Because, I mean, I can. Yep, that did it. Let's try killing this damn thing now, hey? So it doesn't have just an obscene amount of damage, or health, I find. But it can do that. Okay, that's its head. I'd really like to get to your tail, sir. Oh, that killed us. Whoops. So, yeah, that's a really hard fight to do legitimately, just because of how damaging that fire attack is and how easily he can spam it. So, okay, we are not going to go for him this time. Instead, we're gonna go straight to the altar, out onto the bridge, get our souls, and hustle back to the blacksmith. Not entirely sure what determines how much damage the fire does to you. I'm really not. So, yeah, he's back. Or so I thought. He's off. Okay. The rapier's attacks come out really, really quickly. I really dig that. We can preempt most weaker enemies' attacks and, like, stagger them out of the attack animation entirely. And that, friends, can be super handy, especially once we encounter late-game mobs that are just as squishy, but hit much harder. Like, Seath's Guards are the first ones I think of. They're very frail, but deal a ton of damage. Down you go. And we pick up some more souls on the way back. Decent trade, overall, I'd say, and more Titanite. It's only useful for those first few refinements, but if we find a weapon we really want, a basic weapon we want to use more than the rapier, useful nonetheless. Oh, fine. Just get them all for old time's sake. Hup. Now we should be good to hand off the very large ember and upgrade our weapon, which will really help us in that DPS race. Just want to make sure we're attuned to this bonfire in case. Well, of course.
I'd give my left arm for a gem like that.
Yep.
Well, thank you, mightily, for that. Now, just leave the rest to me. Andre of a storeout gets the job done. You shall see.
So if we reinforce our rapier even further. Is it not here? It should be. Did I miss it? Huh. Oh wait, no, we probably have to modify it, right? Yep. Costs a Titanite chunk. And now we can reinforce it further. Fortunately, in terms of, like, straight souls, these reinforcements don't cost all that much. Yeah, and to upgrade it to 15 requires the slab, and I think you only get one or two of those per playthrough, so I'm not gonna do that quite yet. But this thing should now deal some insane damage for what it is. Meaning, hold up, next, we want to go back to Firelink, and since I said we're going to be using a pyromancy, we need to upgrade our pyromancies. Now, I think I mentioned this earlier, but unlike in sorceries, which have the damage or like potency of their effect scale with intelligence, or miracles, which does the same with faith, pyromancy strength, I believe, is determined solely by the level of your catalyst, your pyromancy flame. Which, have we checked that out before? The flame medium used by Great Swamp pyromancers. Pyromancers arouse this flame to produce various fire arts. Equip a flame to produce pyromancy, Attuned pyromancy's from... yeah. It also, deals a decent amount of fire damage if you manage to just punch someone with it, so there is that. See? And it looks rather cool. So we can pay him to upgrade our flame using souls, making it and our pyromancy stronger and stronger.
Why? What's spectacular pyromancy? Tell me about it. I have never seen anything.
He's probably talking about the chaos pyromancy we got from the Fair Lady.
Why, yes, of course. Thank you for sharing. I'm still an able pyromancer. I shall locate him myself. You're dead. Once
Whoops. This might lead to him dying on down the line, but that doesn't matter. We will find better pyromancy trainers, don't you worry. So we'll ask him to modify our flame, which, as a trade-off, is costly. But not to worry. Remember all those special souls we got that we can use? All of these. Well, why don't we use all 11 of our large souls of a proud knight? That should do the job. 33k.
My teacher, whom I imagine still resides in the Great Swamp, had a funny way of putting it. He said that pyromancy is the ultimate fantasy. We're born in the dark and warmed by fire, but this fire we cannot touch. Those whose fascination with fire persists learn to hold it in their own hand. He rather had a way with words, the old withering frog. In this land, pyromancers earn a certain respect. The Witch of Izalith, one of the legendary lords, is the godmother of pyromancy. So
very true.
I became undead. I was ecstatic. I felt as if I'd been chosen to attune myself to the ancient arts. Of course, it wasn't all that romantic in the end.
It's nice, though, still to see somebody who has a fairly positive attitude about all this for a change, right?
When I gave you that...
Yep, he's already said that, so... We're going to upgrade this thing just as far as it'll go. Which is plus 10, maybe? And while we're at it, we'll purchase what pyromancies he has left to offer in case he leaves after this and gets himself killed. It's a weird thing to use so many souls for, but don't worry, we can earn them back. Souls of a Brave Warrior, why not? How much will this get us? Another 30k. That should be more than enough. 9 and 10. Oh, that's right. This will go up to 15 now too. Well, that's more than enough. And we can also purchase the Fire Orb. Since now, our pyromancy should be pretty damn strong. Now let me check and see if we have the specific spell we need. Oh yes. Oh yes we do. Pyromancy of Carmina, who harness the power of flame to actualize the inner self. A short strength and endurance boost, but lose HP. Excessive power eats away the life force of its caster, and like all dangerous spells, power within was kept secret for aeons. Well, let's attune this and see exactly how much damage it actually deals. We only get one charge of it, but one charge should be all we need. And then... maybe like Fire Orb, which is like a super fireball. I also found out somehow that, that somehow the four kings, despite their demonic forms, are considered, or likely considered, standard undead and appear to take extra damage from fire. So having some kind of flame spell with us should come in handy. Let's test this out on these fine fellas first. to give you an idea of what pyromancy can do. Yeah, that'll do. And now power within. Let's find a willing test subject. Standard slat, or thrust. 215 damage, that's pretty good. But with the power of power within, which does decrease the old health at a pretty fast clip. Just over 300. Yeah, that'll do. So as long as we have enough Estus to keep this up until the pyromancy expires, which I want to say is around, oh geez, a minute and a half, something like that, we should be just fine. But the other thing that particular strategy advised us do, and which I'm going to, it feels weird burning through all these special souls, just to get over one hump, but, well, hey, that's Dark Souls. I'm gonna burn the rest of these, and level up as much as I can, reinforcing our health total, so that we, hopefully will have to heal less, or will be in less chance of dying during the fight when we have power within active. Oh lord, it's still going? Even though we sat down? Okay. We should get a fair few levels out of this. And all or most of them will go straight into health. And of course we'll equip the charcoal pine resin to coat our weapon in good old regicidal flame. Now the hero's souls. These will be the big ones. That's a bit more like it. How many levels do we get out of this? Just 4? Well, hell, I'll take it. Look at that health. That's nice. Good stuff. Now, finally, we are going to crush a humanity and become human again, because if I can gain, well, hold on. I think the female undead merchant sells curses at a pretty high cost, but I would like to be able to get through the ghosts without taking damage, or a ton of damage this time. But if we can find some, like, other player to aid us, I will, of course, not shirk their aid. Okay. Those humanity drops from the rats are very rare.
Are you Brent?
4K. Right, that's what I was afraid of. Okay, that's fine. We can rustle up that much. Just need one transient curse to be able to make it safely down to the bottom of New Londo. How much did the thieves drop? Like 100 and some odd? 100 on the nose. Yeah, well, that's still something. Oh, it's gratifying to be able to take them down in one go. Well, when you can hit them, that is. Oh no, he's backstabbing us. Why? It deals next to no damage. That feels so good. How did I miss that guy? We might have some good treasure here. Good thing we came back through. Oh, it's like a very small shield that's effective for parries. So not for our build. Certainly not for my skill at playing this game. But for folks who enjoy and are very good at parries, that would be an exceptional piece of equipment. Thud. And thud. Oh. Coming in hot. Alright. And now the hollows with the torches should provide enough souls for us. Ooh, they all came after us at once. That's new-ish. Yeah, if we can find just one, like, online partner, we can do this for certain. This rapier is now much stronger than it would be otherwise. Or than it was before, the upgrade, at any rate. So I'm thinking, with this and the pine resin and some helper, you know, and this rather unique, clunky looking armor set, we should be good to go. Once we're through with the Four Kings, we embark on another challenge to get a very specific weapon or type of weapon. But one that shouldn't be anywhere near as difficult. Okay. That should be everything we need. You're alive again? Did I rest at a bonfire at any point? I don't recall doing so. I could be wrong. There we go. Every little bit helps, of course. Alright, friends, let's do this. Give it the old college try, anyway. Now, once we defeat the boss that waits for us after the Four Kings, in, like, the order I've established to work off of, we'll be able to kindle bonfires even further, allowing us to get, I think, up to 20 Estus flasks from certain bonfires, which is really, really good, and we're definitely going to want to do that, at least with the Firelink Shrine bonfire, since it's acting kind of as, you know, home base. That's it. Let's do this. Feeling good. Not necessarily hopeful about this first run, but especially since we're going to have a health draining effect, but I do feel good. I feel hopeful about our long-term overall chances. Oh, and apparently we're supposed to largely two-hand our weapon. I can understand that. Like, during the fight, I mean. Because, shields wouldn't do much against the Four Kings attacks anyway, which does make sense. Hey MC, how's it going? We are back and we are getting ready to go to war. Hope you're having a good day so far, man. Or hope you have had a good day, since it's getting quite late over there, I would imagine. Had a good day? Glad to hear it, man. Glad to hear it. Okay, now let's... Yep, we're gonna do that. Use our expensive as all hell transient curse. Spend some time on ukulele in the impossible lair. How far into the lair have you gotten at this point? Yeah, that's more like it. Oh, that feels good. Between platformer and collectathon, it's great, yeah. Yeah, striking more of an even balance, and something that's easier to achieve successfully, I think, for that. Well, a new studio comprised of seasoned personnel, it's an easier project for them to kind of really dedicate a lot of time to. Hello? About 15 levels out of 20? That's awesome. Great job, man. Oh, we killed that one. That must have been a critical hit in one go. Or 30 out of 40 since every level is revisited with a new twist or like a new challenge, I guess. I got it. Yo, bargain basement Sith. What? Come on. See, the slow walk is not ominous when you get caught on a door frame. It's... Oh, look at the damage they do to us with this new armor. Oh, they... Yeah, I mean, I'm not gonna be boastful because you can still, like, kill me pretty easily, but you're not as dangerous now. Especially not with the damage I deal with the new and improved poking sword. MCS, what did I do to prepare myself? Well, I found a strategy that would actually work with this build that's based around a kind of high-risk pyromancy. See this spell, Power Within? Well, the way it works, if I can cast it, for whatever reason, does it only work if the caster is undead? That could be a problem. But I was able to find the pieces of armor that boast the highest magic resistance, since I was correct in assuming the Four Kings deal... Help! Yes, help. One moment. The Four Kings deal almost exclusively magic damage. Oh, and they're good. They've got a big weapon. This will be perfect. I loaded up with some charcoal pine resin because apparently the Four Kings count as standard undead despite being like eldritch abominations, and so they take extra damage from fire. I improved my rapier further to plus 14 instead of simply plus 10. And we've got a friend. We can handle this. We can now handle these guys. Yeah, that dude in, like, the really heavy Knight Sentinel armor, or Giant Sentinel armor, I'm sorry, are going to have a field day with the Four Kings. Alright, here they come. Get them. Nice. Hopefully my transient curse is still active. If it's not, we're not gonna have the world's greatest time in here. Oh, it is. It is active. How do you like that? Weird church ghost. Is a thing I just said. Alright. Deep breaths. We can do this. Oh, whoops. We wanted to... I mean, okay. Yeah, I'll take this guy. More souls for me. Okay, deep breaths. We can do this. For whatever reason, I can't use Power Within, presumably because I'm not undead, which largely defeats the purpose, but that's okay. We'll head right on down here. And with that big old sword of his, he can chop up... Sorry, I'm so sorry. They can chop up one of the Four Kings really easily. I cannot. They can. So basically my job in this fight is going to be staying alive and doing what I can to burn a couple of them down. Welcome back to hell. What? They were vanquished. They weren't wearing the Abyss Walker's ring. Oh, hell. Oh, this is gonna suck. This is really gonna suck. Jesus Christ. Well, that did not go well. It just spammed me to death with spells. Yeah. To be fair to that Phantom, they could have been, like, waiting until they... Well, no, that doesn't make sense either. Because if they were waiting in the boss room to kind of equip... equip the ring, they could have done that without jumping into the darkness. So, maybe that was a player, a competent player, truthfully, who simply was not aware of the fact that you needed that particular ring active to enter the Abyss. Because, apparently, after you kill the Four Kings, you do not need that particular ring to, like, stay in that arena. As soon as they're dead, you no longer need that ring. Okay, so how do we want to do this? Honestly, trying it undead with our new power set, since I can actually use this pyromancy only as an undead, I guess, or only as a hollow, might be our next best course of action, seeing as how that poor guy just wasn't ready. Cannot be used if any other self-buffs are active or vice versa. Right. So I guess being human, like having a humanity active, counts as a self-buff. Either that or having another player in your world does. Not entirely sure. Could be because we had the thing to hit the ghost act. Yeah, oh man, transient curse. That's... I don't know how I feel about that. On the one hand, it's understandable you wouldn't want any other buffs active. On the other hand, that's not so much a buff as like a weird kind of arbitrary item you need just to progress through this stage. I'll be honest, I like the idea of the transient curses as a gameplay mechanic, like special items you can use to make fighting unusual enemies a lot easier. That's cool, fine, whatever. But I really don't like the way they were implemented, specifically to get through one area flooded with... No, don't use it now. Oh, shit. Wrong button, so let's try that again. Like, they force you to use them to get through one pretty small area, just jam-packed with enemies like that, and then they have, as I'm aware, absolutely no other use anywhere else in the entire game. That's not very cool or well thought out, I don't think. Now, maybe they allow you to deal additional damage against other types of enemies, or other enemies elsewhere in the game, I'm not sure. But as it stands, it's a good idea that's not been realized as fully as it could be. And, just get ready, folks, because these next few areas in Dark Souls, none of them will be as difficult as this. At least in my experience. But these next few areas are going to be full of mechanics like that. Like, oh, hey, that's a cool idea. But why is it used to hell and back for one small area and then never again, and that area itself wasn't a whole lot of fun to navigate? There's a lot of that. Again, despite the fact that people seem to... It's weird. I think a lot of people have a very positive opinion, like the Dark Souls 1 diehards, the people who seem to hate Dark Souls 2 because it either changed things, making them worse, or it kept things from the first game largely unchanged, therefore just ripping off or deriving from like the masterwork that was Dark Souls 1. It's an argument I don't like. It's a series of arguments I'm not fond of. But I think they have such a rosy view of this game because, A, well, it is a genuinely very well-made game, but also because for a lot of people, myself included, it was their first experience with this particular type of action RPG. And so a lot of the experiences you would typically associate with that, the suspense of fighting a really difficult, goddamn, new boss for the first time, or the sense of triumph you feel when, oh my god, you actually win somehow. Like sort of the thrill of the unknown as well. None of those things were present for them on their playthroughs of, say, Dark Souls 2 or 3, especially 2, though, because, well, they're familiar with these. They know how this thing works. And so a lot of those people tend to very highly praise the overall level design of Dark Souls 1, while also, when talking on a case-by-case basis, like myself, have pretty poor opinions of a lot of late-game areas, particularly. New Londo's kind of controversial. Some people really like it, some people don't. I think it's a really cool idea, and I like all the enemies, but I'm not fond of the area itself. An area called the Tomb of the Giants, which is where we're ultimately headed next. An area called Crystal Cave, which is where the third Lord Soul is, and an area called, well, no, the Demon Ruins and Lost Izalith. So the series of little dungeon stages we have to pass through to get to the final Lord Soul. So it's like, the game has really great environment design, except the entire back half of it has some serious flaws. What? You know what I mean? think the ghost might have floated into the stairs. We may be good. We may be good. MC says it's a great experience and you feel rewarded for learning how things work. Oh, absolutely. But it's poorly designed regardless. Yeah. They can follow you in here? What? That's not supposed to happen. Like that, for instance. I think a lot of these later areas may have been not by a studio mandate, but just kind of the way development worked. They might have been rushed just a little bit, because that's certainly what it feels like, because like the first half of the game, well, like MC, for instance, you saw most of it, actually has some pretty stellar like environment and encounter design universally. There's certain aspects people might be able to say they can't like, but you can't argue that a whole lot of time and attention and thought was put into all of it. These feel a little bit more sloppy isn't a good word. It has too harsh connotations. A little bit more coarse. So we're gonna pop down here, pop this pyromancy, and pray the kings don't splatter me all over the wall again. Not refined, yeah. So we've almost brought down one of them. That's good. Round 2. Don't you run from me, you giant undead tree bastard thing. I'm the best at trash talk. Drink, drink, drink. No, 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 no! That's a grab attack! Oh no. Good. Number 2's down. And I'm immediately struck from miles away by number 3. Now, admittedly, their range is kind of ridiculous. Pyromancy wear off? Yeah, it did. Now, here's the thing. There aren't 4 of them. They just keep coming back until we drain the health bar. There he is. I don't think so, you bastard. Those homing projectiles stick around a bit too long for my taste, but I get why they're here. No, 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 no. They're almost gone. Back to the abyss. Yes! First time taking those things out solo. And all it costed were just about all the souls we had in reserve. GG, thank you very much, man, thank you. We earned the Defeat the Four Kings trophy, the Bequeath Lord Soul Shard, a humanity from each of them, a nice touch, and that special character I talked about you can only interact with if you manage not to give the Lord Vessel over to Gwen's emissary, the Kingseeker Frampt. This guy, we've heard of before. And God, they look so much creepier in the darkness. But, yeah, special bonus religion available to us only if we come all the way down here without talking to Gwen's giant, creepy, cartoon snake buddy.
Greetings. the primordial serpent, Darkstalker Khan. I can guide thee.
Yep.
The truth I shall share without sentiment. After the advent of fire, the ancient lords found the three souls, but your progenitor found a fourth, unique soul, the dark soul. Your
Name drop.
claimed the dark souls and waited for fire to subside. Soon the flames did fade, and only dark remained. Thus began the Age of Mane, the Age of Dark. However, Lord Gwyn trembled at the dark, clinging to his Age of Fire, and in dire fear of humans, and the Dark Lord who would one day be born amongst them. Lord Gwyn resisted the course of nature by sacrificing himself to link the fire and commanding his children to shepherd the humans. Gwyn has blurred your past to prevent...
As far as I'm aware, absolutely all of this is true.
I am the primordial serpent. I seek to right the wrongs of the past, to discover our true Lord.
This,
The other serpent
however,
lost
is not.
and befriended Lord Gwyn.
As I understand it, this guy genuinely believes that the Age of Dark would be superior to, like, the realities of the Age of Fire, but he deliberately avoids some of the possible repercussions, like, you know, everything we just saw, that may result from things going wrong. But let's break this down for a minute before we make a decision. MC says for a giant serpent, quite the sage voice. Very true. The other serpent, Frampt, sounds identical. Like, I believe they had the same voice actor. And it is very, very strange to see these monsters having such gentle, like, wizened voices. That's actually a common theme throughout Dark Souls as the series goes on. Sometimes some of the nicest people or things look monstrous, and vice versa. I'm not sure if that's an intentional theme, but it's certainly present throughout the series. So, here's the case that Koth makes, and we know much of the fact behind this to be true, from the intro, from item descriptions, everything like that. When Gwyn, the Witch of Izalith, and Nito claimed the souls of the lords, and Seath, of course, cooperated with Gwyn and earned a shard of his soul, as did the four kings, the Age of Light was born, or the Age of Fire was born out of their cooperation and galvanization of the energy within those souls to, like, establish dominion over the world, taking it from the dragons. But, at the same time, the ancestor of humanity, the first man, found the Dark Soul. And this man, the Furtive Pygmy, instead of participating in Gwyn's war against the dragons, hid. Like, elected to bide his time, nurtured the dark soul that he had found, and with it granted humanity a special power, a natural power and a power of creation that didn't so much oppose but strongly diverged from that which Gwyn had established as, like, the law of his land, the magical, like, ethereal force underpinning his world. And Gwyn has worked vociferously to arrest what could be progress, or at the very least has worked to suppress humanity, worked to suppress those things, those living, sentient, cultured things that don't fit quite in with his worldview or could seek to threaten it by their own power at some day. MC says progress and change, right? Change is really a better word for this than progress. There's no indication that the Age of Dark would be more advanced or sophisticated or anything like that. It would just be different, and not necessarily in a bad way. He also tells us something that's only been alluded to thus far. Gwyn again, as a morally complex character, believes so ardently in the righteousness of what he's doing and truly believes that this is best for everybody, that he set out for the first flame himself, and having run out of options, things that could be used to stoke the coals and keep the fire burning, threw himself into it. He sacrificed himself, his own soul, to the fire in the hopes of perpetuating this age of light. And now his children are left to try to goad undead who are powerful enough to go do the same themselves in order to perpetuate the Age of Fire. So all this bit about the Chosen Undead, this prophecy of a powerful undead who will succeed Lord Gwyn, put a stop to the undead hunts and ostracization of those quote-unquote cursed with the dark sign, all of it's a lie. All the leaders, all Gwyn's children have been ordered to do, and they do entirely in good faith, I need to stress. We have yet to meet the other one of his children present in the game, but I can promise you, they are, as I would read it, completely benevolent and truly believe they're helping people. They have no malice or ill will towards us whatsoever. The princess clearly doesn't. But they want to keep convincing undead, the disposable, to become powerful enough to stoke the fire and keep their father's dream alive just a little bit longer. This is desperation. This isn't necessarily evil. MC says, of course it's a lie. Why would anyone change a system that works and everyone believes in it? Well, yeah, especially when Gwyn's the victor. He got to write the history. The dragons were bad, and humanity just needs help. And the gods are... And again, remember, gods here does not necessarily refer to something in a religious, metaphysical sense. It refers to, like, the race of beings, these kind of giants, the titans, that Gwyn belongs to. They just need help, and the titans are the best to rule over them. They'll work for everybody, but... Remember, as we deal with Koth and this whole storyline, everything he says about Gwyn and the wrongdoings of his government and the falsehoods they put forth, this false hope they tried to give everybody, at no point does this guy address what we saw happen to New Londo. At no point is misuse of the dark manifested in the Four Kings and the Dark Wraiths, who, spoiler alert, this guy directly guided and provided sage advice to in their crusade to become these massive living vessels of great vitality riven from the chests of others. Does he attempt to justify that? Again, and I think MC put it well, what we're advocating for here is change. And something that we have just enough evidence to suggest, managed properly, will be better. But we have to remember as we do so, again, this was a great, prosperous city. Until the dark was used improperly. And this is always one bad decision away. That said, old Brady doesn't care much for liars, and clearly, we've been around this world. Gwyn's ideal Age of Fire, at this point, now that the fire's grown so weak and constantly needs more and more material fed to it, is miserable. Like, crazed, unhinged monsters roam just about every bastion of, like, this country and its people. There's all kinds of fell beasts and demons attacking folks left, right, and center, and everybody's slowly losing their mind. I have to believe that whatever follows it, as long as we don't handle it this badly, would be 1,000 times better. So yeah, Lord Gwyn's gotta go.
Very well. I shall now guide you to Gwyn's prison. Be still, and trust thine flesh to me.
Oh, wait, we were supposed to light that bonfire first, I think. Or maybe not. Maybe he brings us back. I don't know, because I've actually never done this quest line before. Now we get to place the Lord Vessel.
Now, place the Lord Vessel upon the altar. What is it? Place the Lord Vessel upon the altar.
So Lord Gwyn is behind these double doors, and we'll need all 4 of the Lord's souls. Well, 2 Lord souls and 2 shards of Gwyn's soul to properly stir the gates and cause them to swing wide for us. So apparently we were just carrying that damn thing around the whole time. That's that's interesting. And King Secret Framp, you'll notice, is gone. MC says huge pockets. Yep. And now gates to the other 3 lords open up. Nito, Seath, and the Witch of Izalith. That environment should look familiar. The Lord Vessel, of course, acts as a massive bonfire. And it's time to offer it its first soul. Soul of the 4 kings who fell to dark. Well, one of them, anyway. A fragment of a Lord soul discovered at the dawn of the Age of Fire. Lord Gwyn recognized the foresight of these 4 great leaders of New Londo, and granted them their ranks and the fragments of a great soul. Although this is not a full Lord soul, it can still satiate the Lord Vessel. We'll offer that to the Lord Vessel after we talk to Koth.
Once the vessel is filled with souls, the gate to Gwyn shall open. Seek Gravelord Nito, the Witch of Izalith, and the traitor, Seath the Scales. Fill this vessel with their souls, then the gate will open, so that you may kill Gwyn. Are you ready? Then let us return to the abyss, and trust thine flesh to me.
Sure thing, giant demon cartoon snake. This looks like a comfortable means of travel. So, yeah, we will actually be going after Gravelord Nito next, because a ton of loot, as well as a new covenant, yet another one, await in her domain.
If you wish, I shall grant the art of life drain, the legendary power of the Dark Lord. You can preserve your humanity while undead. Cast off the shackles placed upon your brethren.
Yep, covenant time, but first.
Warrior, to speak now is premature. It begins with your retrieval of the Lord Vessel.
So, 3 guesses as to what covenant this is. Yep, we just earned the trophy. The Dark Wraith Covenant. Don't worry, we'll do it right this time. We got another Dark Hand. And he will now sell us invasion orbs, should we want them.
Every last one of them. They were strong.
MC says, what is the canonical ending of Dark Souls for Dark Souls 2? I honestly have no idea. It's presumed, like, well, obviously since it's the same world, centuries or millennia in the future, I think it's technically presumed that you elect to link the fire, but it could also be that history just cycles itself through, so whatever choice you make here doesn't really matter. Now let us quickly get the hell out of this creepy, creepy little sanctuary. We can now warp back to Firelink and prepare to tackle one of the game's more interesting areas. Real quick, let's go ahead and repair our rapier. It's definitely going to need it in a bit, trust me. And we can level up 3 times, nice. MC says, makes you wonder if that serpent was exiled down there. No, he was not. He can still move around completely freely, as is evidenced by other storylines in the game implying that he's traveled all throughout Lordran. He just likes it down there, being, well, sort of the immortal champion or advocate for the dark. Okay, I'm thinking... we've got enough decks for now, I think. How about yet more stamina and a little bit of strength? Oh, and, of course, we're going to attune our standard magic again. Well, no, actually, let's go ahead and use the heavy soul arrow instead, because it would be nice to have a ranged attack at this point. We no longer need the Covenant of Artorias, so we can get Havel's Ring back out of storage. Now we'll just need our good old Silver Knight armor. Not necessarily because it's the best, because we now no longer need a very specific build and it looks cool. So the Catacombs, if you wouldn't have figured it already...
Sorry, fool. You could not be the chosen one. Enough. I shall slumber till I am awakened again.
Right, goodbye. We should now be able to take out the skeletons without too much headache. Yeah, 2 hits instead of 1,000,000. Not even a blunt weapon, that's what I'm talking about. And there are some great little trinkets scattered around this graveyard. So yeah, Nito's forces are, instead of ghosts, the physical remains of the deceased. And they go down much, well, at least for this part of the game anyway, much easier than the 4 Kings' disciples did. Well, at first, anyway. There is a gimmick in the Catacombs as well, and it's a little tricky. Oh yeah, meet these guys, the giant skeletons. Still, fortunately, kind of fragile. And they just explode. We got a special winged spear. I think it might be a bit longer and deal a bit more damage than a standard spear. So, okay, that's pretty cool. We're about to plunge knee-deep into Dark Souls, like personal rendition of Thriller. A Zweihander. No, don't. Somehow I triggered the motion controls for a gesture while I was perfectly still. Whatever. Zweihander is like a fan favorite. As are many of the big two-handed swords, because it deals obscene damage and has really good reach. And as the big swords go, it's not too tough to use. Did we get everything down here? Anything else over here? Because obviously the catacombs are down there. And oh boy, that gimmick. I'm anticipating a couple deaths down there due solely to the gimmick. Hey, the binoculars. I guess somebody was taking a look at... Is that Poop City over there? Is that what they were trying to see? That's what they just had to fight their way through the haunted, skeleton-infested graveyard to get a look at, huh? Was good old Poop City. Well, whatever floats your boat, Chief. So welcome, ladies and gents, to the Catacombs. A very interesting little area, full of those exploding soul mine things that the Mass of Souls threw at us down in New Londo. Now, as I said, the skeletons here have something of a gimmick, in that most of them don't stay down. Yeah, you'll know they're gone for good if you get the souls from them. Instead, you have to find necromancers, who obviously are quite well hidden in all this darkness. They're very, very weak ranged mages, and chop them down instead. And there's a lot of skeletons, like, a lot of them. MC says, oh yeah, I know this. Yep. Oh, I played a lot of Hand of Fate too. Well, these guys are a bit more robust than Hand of Fate skeletons. Bonfire, we'll be needing that. There's our first necromancer. And good news, the necromancers, as I'm aware, do not respawn. So, like, once you fight through their army and take them out once, that's it for them. I need that bonfire, man. That bonfire is going to save our ass. Okay, come on, dive. Yep. Good job. Whew. So this is the general pattern for the Catacombs. Fight through a bunch of skeletons as quick as you can, find a necromancer, get rid of him, get rid of all the skeletons he controlled, then, and only then, charge backwards through that passage you just had to, like, run through like a crazy person to get your hands on all the loot you missed. And there will be lots of good loot here, as well as, believe it or not, our final blacksmith. Not nearly enough to level up. That's okay. Not gonna kindle it quite yet. Oh, that's right. Sat at the bonfire, so you guys are back. Not all of you, though, because most of you chased me down from earlier in this terrible little maze of passages. Making sure I didn't miss anything back here. It doesn't look like I did, but you never know, right? So most of the catacombs is, believe it or not, a fairly beautiful looking natural cavern. Oh, there's our next one. Good thing I got that soul arrow out, huh? Hey buddy, how you doing? Want another? Oh, and his catalyst, since we can't see it from here, is actually a lantern fashioned from a skull. Very cute and on topic. Now you won't give me any trouble at all, will you, fella? That's the way. I do love the enthusiasm with which they pursue us, like doing diving, like spinning jumps or cartwheels with their swords extended. It's skeletons know how to get down, man. The Catacombs are also notorious for having probably the easiest boss in the entire game. And not like relative to the point where you fight them, I mean like the easiest overall. Really, really cool in terms of lore, though. And, you know what, I think after the Four Kings, we deserve like a little breather boss. As you can imagine, fighting your way through this really tight crypt without having removed the skeleton's immortality would make this really tough. Down it goes. This should be that archer that was giving us trouble. Or trying to, anyway. And a bodyguard. Or a guardian body, at any point, as it is. Oh, it just ran down there. Well, give me a minute, buddy. I'll be happy to oblige. We see there's more of the mines over there and some kind of switch we probably need to activate. Reed definitely need to activate. But let's loot the tomb first, because that's what heroes do. There is a secret wall or two somewhere in the catacombs. I just don't remember exactly where. Oh! Did you just riposte me? I forgot that the skeletons in Dark Souls could do that. That is nice. Okay, so don't attack them when they have their falchions up. Come on. Come on now. That'll do it. I love how that we can somehow, like, just destroy them by running our sword through their pelvis. MC says there's a secret wall with that ring. You want it? Yeah, I think I remember. Let me just see if we can't find out where exactly it is. It's deeper in the catacombs, I want to say. Oh yeah, trap statue. Those are a thing here for some reason. So if we progress on past the rather troubling soul mine things, those deal a ton of damage and can knock us off the edge really easily. But I think if you hit them just in time, you can, like, disarm them, so to speak. Not worth it. Oh, another necromancer. Hey, buddy. Please hold a moment. This is one of his, no doubt. But all we need to do is haul ass past the statues and the skeletons over to that switch. Once we start this animation, that should retract all the spikes on the platform, making him, or just rotate the platform, making him completely vulnerable. What do we got here? Money. Okay, good. Oh, thank God for iframes. Now, he will put them back together pretty quickly, so we kind of just want to, you know, haul it, or book it right over there. Making clever use of iframes whenever we can to cut him down. Oh, he's running. Oh, no, you don't. There we go. Now let's clean up after ourselves. I think one of them just leapt off the bridge. Good job, you. Love that strong attacks temporarily knock them over, though. Or knock them apart. So we don't get a ton of souls from individual skeletons, but we get an absolute buttload from them collectively, since there's so many here. What is this? That's what I thought. Secret passageway that we fell into. Always the best kind. Oh, hello. Oh, it disappeared already, damn. Wanted some special Titanite myself. Why are those a thing? Love that you can constantly hear the roaring of the waterfall, though. That's a really nice touch. Anything here? Yep. Oh, it brought us back out here. I see. Nice. Now, once we reach the bottom of this gorge, and yeah, that's where we're ultimately headed, the bottom, we're going to run into some more Pinwheel buddies, but they'll be in the open, so hopefully not as tough. Please tell me you were with the guy at the bridge. Nope. Well, that's not good. Oh, get out of the way. Oh, there he is. And this should open the gate up above. Good. So I would say on the whole, the Catacombs are a much better stage than New Londo. Like, there's a gimmick, but it's easy to understand and work once you know what you're doing. And it's also extremely rewarding. It's kind of fun to cut down these hordes of skeleton mobs once they're all gone. And by the way, that is not the only way to deal with them. If you have a blessed weapon, so something you've upgraded along the blessed path, or you happen to find one of a handful of weapons, including, say, the Astora Straightsword, that are naturally blessed, you can use them to kill skeletons, and it will immediately nullify their regenerative abilities. Even if the necromancer's still alive, they will not resurrect. So that's where we want to go, ultimately. There we go. Thank you, random message writer. in the Dark Souls community. Yes! Yes! Oh, lovely. Absolutely lovely. We'll have to cut our way through a couple more skeletons, but that's not too bad now, is it? Well, good to know that's there. Alright, here comes the welcome wagon. And there they go. These guys fight with just falchions, I think, but the really big skeletons drop special curved greatswords, I want to say. Come on, get it. One. There we are. Got a few guards in here. 3, right? Yeah. Or no, sorry. Those guys, I think, carry special weapons as well. Or no, maybe the ones with shields carry scimitars, and the big ones carry falchions. That's it. Or the ones without a shield carry falchions. But the very big skeletons, I distinctly recall, carry a different sword altogether that I don't believe we have yet. So that's the way forward. I'm more interested in whatever's down here, though. Oh. Yeah. Okay. Nothing we want yet. Though there is treasure down there, we're going to have to either figure out a way to take that drop, or make that, well, yes, take that drop, or we're going to have to come back later. Now, how to deal with that? Oh, here we go. We're maybe halfway done with the Catacombs, maybe just a little more. I'm amazed to think we might actually get 2 Lord Souls today. And yeah, you can see there's a whole lot waiting for us on the lower level. So whatever's in here should answer to a different necromancer. Fortunately, they don't deal that much damage. It doesn't appear. Oh, gotta keep our eyes peeled because the new Covenant's in here. Here it is. No, it's not. Or that isn't it, rather. There's lots of treasure here. There's a Titanite demon we're probably gonna want to avoid, just for the time being. And there's the special Covenant. So we gotta pay special attention to all these caskets. Cheery, I know. And look for, there it is. Perfect place to take a nap, right? So let's just do that, because that's a sensible thing to do in a realm of sentient undead that all want to kill you. And just wait, like with the passage back to the Undead Asylum. Just wait a minute. And prepare to deal with probably the strangest Covenant in the entire game. Also the one that mechanically is the most interesting to me. So we got sealed up by some kind of undead. And we've been brought to an audience chamber of sorts. In the Tomb of the Giants, typically considered to be one of the worst areas in the game, but right now we don't care about any of that, no. We're here for an audience with the god of this covenant. Meet Gravelord Nito. There she rests in all her glory, wielding a particularly gnarly giant curved sword. And I don't think there's any loot we can find here yet. And she, understandably, doesn't have a whole lot to say, but will allow us to enter into the Gravelord Servant Covenant. That's a special one, I believe, that in addition to allowing you to invade other people's worlds as a phantom, also invades them with several NPC powerful Black Phantom enemies that differ depending on the location. So yes, we'll happily join the Gravelord Servant Covenant. And we get a miracle, as well as probably one of the best weapons in the game, even for somebody like me who doesn't like big weapons, the Gravelord Sword. Yeah, we can't talk with her or get any kind of dialogue. Rest assured, she's, awake, as near as I can tell. She just has nothing to say to us. So, thank you, Gravelord Nito. We'll be seeing you very, very soon for completely non-violent purposes. Now let's check out our new weapon real quick, because you guys are gonna appreciate this, I'm certain. No, great swords are further up, right? Yes, it's a giant curved sword. Sword wielded only by servants of Gravelord Nito, the first of the dead, crafted from the bones of the fallen. The miasma of death exudes from the sword, a veritable toxin to any living being. Yep, it deals poison damage, and a lot of it. Look at that. Oh, that's beautiful. Oh my god. This got me through most of the late game during my first and to date only full playthrough. This exact build, I believe. Except, of course, I made myself just strong enough to use it one-handed. And the Gravelord Sword Dance basically grants us the ability to use one of Nito's signature attacks. Now they're gonna take us back. How on earth people figured out to do this when the game first came out or is being playtested, I've got no idea. But that is our next covenant. Now, we have technically yet to join Solaris because we don't have enough faith or haven't helped out enough people online. But that aside, there's just two more. MC says, I know how they did this. Just interacting with every object they find, which is... They found a way to hide while doing a thing quick. I see. I see. That's pretty likely, actually. Now, do we want to try to take this thing on? See, my mind's telling me no. But my body's telling me yes. Let's do it. Hello, very bad idea. How are you today? Well, we actually deal decent damage to him. that would be great magic weapon at work, I think. And would you believe this isn't even the most powerful magic weapon variant? There is one greater. But I think you only get like one use of it per rest. We should unlock it very soon, I want to say. Goodbye. Okay, well, when you're not tucked into a cramped little chapel, you ain't so bad at all, are you? Now, what was he guarding? Eyes of Death for the Gravelord Servant Covenant. I see, I see. And of the covenants that remain, both of them are kind of... that we know nothing about. I mean, both are kind of secrets, so to speak. Oh, hello. They have tremendous poise. No, 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 no! Ah, thought I could kick it down. Well, that's fine. We just need to find your necromancer, then all will be well. I hope he's down here anyway. Yes, he is. I could see the lantern. And he's guarded, of course, because, I mean, if you raised all these skeletons, wouldn't you want them to act as like a personal entourage? I know I would. But you should have put some points into strength or dex, my man. Now, if these guys could resurrect the ghosts in New Londo, they would probably be the worst enemies in the entire game. But as it is, just working with skeletons, they're actually a lot of fun, and do quite a bit to shake things up, I find. Now you know there's plenty of treasure we can acquire back on the previous level that we just kind of had to run through, / were chased through. Oh, right, yeah, those fall away. Don't trigger those unless you're ready to take a dive. There's like these discolored patches of tile that I deliberately walked around the first time and thankfully did not carelessly fall through the second time. As you can see, it just keeps on going down, as will we. Because we obviously couldn't tell. Oh, thankfully there is friendly fire with the soul mine, guys. But Nito is buried at the absolute bottom of this tomb. What on earth are... Oh god, there's another one. That got stuck in the geometry, maybe? Treasure. There absolutely is not. Maybe? No, there are things down here. Be wary of giant. Yeah, that's good advice. Thank you. No, 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 no. This is how we get to some good stuff, I just know it. Oh no. There's a different necromancer down here. You. Oh, that's good placement. Oh, that's tricky. But he dropped something, too. The skull lantern. Perfect. We're actually going to need that later on. You okay there, buddy? You having a little trouble. Okay, so the big guys dealt with, we just have a horde of the smaller ones now, right? Right. Now what kind of treasure lies in wait down here? What's... There it is. The Dark Moon Seance Ring. That'll get us access to the secret chamber in Anor Londo. That's the good stuff, folks. In fact, once we make it back up to the Necromancer's Overlook, let's check out our new little treasure. Or, in fact, right here. This looks like the safest place in the entire little floor here. Grants you additional attunement slots. Just one, I think, but still good stuff. This ring is granted to adherents of Gwendolyn, Dark Moon Deity and Lastborn of Gwyn, Lord of Sunlight. Grants additional magic attunement slots. The Dark Sun Gwendolyn is the only remaining deity in Anor Londo. His followers are few, but their tasks are of vital importance. Huh, now what? That doesn't make perfect sense, now does it? In fact, that statement directly contradicts with everything we've seen thus far. As far as we're aware, there is one deity in Anor Londo, but it's not Gwendolyn. Yes, friends, we're about to embark on another Dark Souls tragedy trip. Once we get out of here, of course. The Tranquil Walk of Peace miracle. Oh, well, hello. Okay. Oh, look where we ended up. Backtrack City lies ahead, it would appear. Well, time to run. So I think after we're done here, done with Nito, it would be a good idea to go and seek an audience with Gwendolyn to see if we can't find out what in the hell is going on in Anor Londo. More strength? Sure, let's try to get strength up to at least 20 so we can wield some heavier weapons in case we decide to switch things up in that direction. Trap statues are kind of a Souls series tradition. They'd play a pretty big role in one particular area of... whoop, skeleton down. Dark Souls 2. Well, I'm sorry, 2 really distinct areas in Dark Souls 2 would have trap statues that, oh, players just adore. The difference is you can destroy those statues. These are, I'm fairly certain, invincible. Can I kill these things or can't I? Guess not. Luckily, we can take the blasts just fine. As long as they don't throw us overboard. Now we just have to go down through the crypt. Clearly, things are getting older and older, more and more ornate as we go through, right? And Nito should be waiting, well, at the bottom of a primordial tomb that technically is a separate entity from and lies deep beneath the catacombs themselves. Now, as far as lore, like things I can talk about in the meantime, we know that Nito is the first of the dead, meaning I assume the first mortal being ever to actually die, and she made a deal with Gwen to join his coalition to wipe out the everlasting immortal dragons, contributing plagues and miasma and hordes of the resurrected dead to the cause. And then promptly, with all of her godhood and bolstered power, just kind of happily retreated to the catacombs to slumber eternally and watch over her domain very remotely and indirectly, as you would expect from what's basically the god of entropy. Oh, look who's back. Just as much fun as ever, except now they die in 2 hits. And we fight them in a much more open area. And, the soul mine just took them out really, really quickly. Now, if I recall, there's a lot of them here. But we are actually now at the bottom of the catacombs. We made it. And as you can hear, our blacksmith is not far from here either. But, oh god, no. Oh, I forgot about you. Yes, let's get back out into the open, please. Oh no. Black Knights and Pinwheel skeletons, my favorites. Good. Okay, now we can handle the axe-wielding Black Knight on their own. And this is one of the easier variants to deal with, I find. Kind of slow and cumbersome, you know what I mean? There we go. We got their Great Axe and some White Titanite. We will not be using the Great Axe, awesome though it is, because it is very heavy. So do you remember that great big pit higher up in the catacombs that had a, some kind of treasure down at the bottom of it? Looked like we couldn't really make it down there? Well, we can, if we prepare properly. And we can actually find, I think, our final blacksmith down there as well. We'll go back for them later. Right now, it's just about boss time, and I want nothing to get in the way of that. Nito is also slumbering, in part, I believe, because someone was actually able to steal their way into the crypts and steal a great portion of her power for themselves, but they don't exactly know how to use it properly. 3 guesses as to what our next boss is. The rogue necromancer, responsible for a lot of the restless dead we've seen, Pinwheel. We fight Pinwheel, fittingly, in a giant sarcophagus. Pinwheel appears to be, well, a mage but a mage created from 3 distinct entities. Specifically, the father, the mother, and the child. In the lore, they're a really interesting character. They can clone themselves, but look how much damage we do. Not even funny. And the fight's over. Pinwheel, ladies and gentlemen! We earned the right of kindling, a humanity, and a homeward bone. It's a shame that Pinwheel doesn't have a bit more health, because I wanted, if nothing else, to give you an opportunity to appreciate the aesthetics of their fight. Wow, that was a really jarring shift after the Four Kings, wasn't it? I know that's typically a fast fight, but I didn't expect it to be anywhere near that fast. MC says, I guess it can get harder if you're not well prepared. Not really, no. Pinwheel actually has a reputation as being not just one of the easiest bosses in the series, but insanely easy for the point of the game in which they're encountered. If Pinwheel was a very early game boss, they'd be perfectly competent. But as it is, no, that's about how it goes. Now, legitimately, they're a really cool boss that can create duplicates of themselves, send out various magic attacks, some of which have serious AoEs, and if they fought in a more open arena, maybe with hard-to-reach platforms you had to navigate to attack them, I could see the fight being fairly challenging. As it is, though, it's atmospherically, it's a really cool fight. And the lore, as it seems broadly to be understood, is that Pinwheel was a necromancer searching for a way to bring his deceased wife and child back to life, however he could, driven mad by grief. And after stealing his way into Nito's crypt and stealing some of her power, found a way, but it wasn't at all what he wanted. The three of them were forged into one grotesque, kind of impotent creature, and so he's been working away, clearly, researching a way to set everything right. And, you couldn't hear it because the fight was so brief, but, like, under the instrumental of, like, the fight track, there is a constant, like, muttering of, I'm sorry, I'm so sorry. And there's nothing like that in terms of vocal cues anywhere else in the game. So we got the Mask of the Child. Pinwheel drops one of his 3 masks every time you kill him, and all of them have different interesting effects. The Child slightly raises your stamina recovery speed, which, coupled with everything else we have, like the green crest shield, should actually be pretty significant. Problem is, it looks kind of silly. All 3 of the masks look silly, but man, it's a good effect. We'll keep it for now. And head ourselves on down to the Tomb of the Giants. MC says each mask has its lore. Yes, very good, right. One of the 3 thank you for reminding me. One of the 3 masks of the Pinwheel, the necromancer who stole the power of the Gravelord and reigns over the Catacombs. This mask, belonging to the naive child, slightly raises stamina recovery speed. And we also got the Rite of Kindling from Pinwheel itself. Rite which boosts bonfires even further, meaning we can kindle up to 20 Estus flasks. This sacred rite allows bonfires to be bolstered further with kindling, so that even more Estus can be collected. Kindling was a sacred rite passed down among clerics, but all undead can imitate the process, in the same manner that they restore their hollowing with humanity. How peculiar that humans had found little use for humanity until they turned undead. Hashtag deep, bro. Right, so here's the thing about Tomb of the Giants and why people kind of hate it. It's dark as hell. It's dark as hell. There's a lot of very sudden drops. There are giant and intimidating, surprising enemies littered all throughout, and it's basically just this. The entire stage is just this. Thankfully, it's pretty short. Thankfully, Nito is not far away, and thankfully, of the 4 Lord Soulbearers, at least based off of my initial playthrough, Nito is far and away the easiest one to deal with. Now, in order to properly deal with her, we're going to need to, once we light our bonfire, leave briefly to go get something. Because see, as part of her fight, she has a couple of skeletons that she technically acts as a necromancer for, meaning they will continually resurrect unless we kill them with a blessed weapon. So we need to get a blessed weapon. Skull Lantern of the Catacombs necromancer droops from his long beard locks. This lantern alights the Tomb of the Giants, Nito's light-devouring domain of death. Also serves as a fire damage strike weapon. Yeah, so we're also asked, basically, to, in place of a shield, use the lantern for this, which again is a cool idea. But, hello, skeleton beast. Like, it encourages players to fight one-handed, which is cool and good, but used in an area like this is very, very, kind of stupid, I find. Thankfully, we can just dodge most of their attacks pretty easily. Gave us 1,000 souls, I won't complain about that. And you can see we get another tremendous view of the demon ruins of Lost Izalith from here. Demonstrating that all the bad things in the world really do seem to flow down there over time. As will we. In time. Whoa! Yikes. Got him. Now there is some good loot here. Like money, for instance. But I mean seriously, some decent items. And a great encounter with some NPC friends of ours, I believe. If only I can find them. Oh, goodbye. The terrain here is so treacherous, even the skeletons are constantly throwing themselves off of ledges. What we need to find is the damn bonfire. There is one here. I just don't remember exactly where. Oh, it's you. Right. Well, there's my bonfire. So before I do anything else, I'm climbing down here. Then we do have to interact with that guy. He's a merchant, technically. If we want to do this properly and, like, help all of our little undead pals, we do need to go talk to that guy. Tell you what, why don't we drop this one in intelligence? I would like to keep raising the potency of our magic, particularly our magic weapon. This guy is a Dark Souls institution. He first appeared in Demon Souls, believe it or not, and has appeared in every single Soulsborne game since. I'm hoping he'll show up in Elden Ring at some point.
You look reasonably sane. What are you doing in the Catacombs? Are you a cleric or something? No? Really? Then I'd have no qualms telling you. There's a fine stash of treasure right down that hole. I found it first, but, well, we're friends now. I'll split it with you. In any case, have a look. It'll shimmer you right.
This guy's totally trustworthy, right? So yeah, right down this hole, yeah? Well, sorry, I don't know if he's in Dark Souls 2. They're very similar characters, though. And yeah, he does this to you in all of his appearances.
This is what I do, my friend. A tricky Tommy stripping off your corpse. That's the real treasure.
Now, the thing about this guy, Patches the hyena, or Trustworthy Patches, or something like that in each game, is that if we make our way back to him, we can, like, threaten him into submission really quickly, and he sells a pretty interesting and reasonably priced collection of loot. So there is that. We should also find some of his other victims down here. Oh, a skull lantern if we didn't have one. Yikes, can you imagine having to navigate all this without a lantern so far? That'd be rough. We should be able to find one of our buddies somewhere around here. If only I knew where. Hold on just a minute. And I do apologize for the neighbor's dog barking, if you can hear that. Want to make sure I'm doing this properly. Okay. Alright. So, the character I'm looking for should be down here somewhere. But would understandably be hard to find. Given... There she is! It's our buddy Rhea. You know, the cleric from Thorland that Petrus was supposed to protect?
Hollow, are you? Thank goodness.
Not usually.
There are two face hollows not far from here. They were once brave knights.
Yeah, so the other two knights that came along with her have gone hollow, and we're going to need to cut them down to make sure that she's safe.
Is there nothing at all to be done?
Just a whole lot of poking, ma'am. You can also hear some panting out in the distance. Yeah, rest assured, that's not good. Here they go. Hello, sir. Oh, I may have... really would have done better to just, like, use a shield instead here. Because I forget, they definitely double team you. I thought you could kite one or the other, but no, they were buddies in life and remain such in death. Oh god, that's so chancy, but just had to do it. Now then. That's a bit more like it, gents. I'm sorry, did he just try to punch me with a cloth talisman? Now that's just rude. One down. One to go. Come on, big guy. Oh, he tried to kick us and break our guard, and we just bounced him right off. Oh, and we broke his guard somehow. Goodbye, sir. Thanks for playing. Good thing I was able to switch to the shield, eh? Now that we've saved Rhea by, you know, killing her friends, she should be able to get out of here.
Hollows, did you? I am certain that both Vince and Nico are grateful to you. Thank you so very much. Here, these belonged to them. You deserve them more than I.
Oh, a special miracle, a healing miracle,
I'm
too.
certain that both thank you.
You gonna... Okay, just make sure you get out of here. We can actually run into her twice more. And, we'll have to do our part to keep her safe in the next encounter as well. That is a bone tower rising up. Several bone towers, my bad. These look terribly reminiscent of a Castlevania enemy to me. And are, yeah, downright painful if they manage to hit you. Luckily, of the special types of skeletons indigenous to the Tomb of the Giants, they're easily the least dangerous, I would say. There's another couple types that are really nasty. Ooh. That sucks, though. Well, none of them are trying to fall on us. That's progress, I guess. What do they drop? Oh, Titanite chunks. White Titanite. I think that's used specifically to create, like, blessed or divine weapons. So, kudos to the game for giving us the tools we need to conquer certain areas within said areas. That's a really nice touch. Now we need to make our way back up to Patches. Easier said than done, of course, and you can see more of the bone towers waiting for us. They don't have that much health, but they kind of don't need to deal plenty of damage, eh? So I think we can see at this point why the Tomb of the Giants is such a reviled area. Its whole gimmick is just that it's dark and tight and full of, like, really challenging enemies that you don't find anywhere else, which is... secret wall, thank you. Not as cool of a gimmick as, say, the necromancers from the Catacombs. I think the Catacombs had a fantastic gimmick. This place, no, this is just kind of unpleasant.
Oh, you... Well, let's just calm down. Talk about things. I did you wrong, but I didn't mean it. These temptations.
So we could kill him, but he doesn't drop anything really valuable. And he doesn't hurt anybody else if we forgive him, I don't believe. He moves to Firelink and sells us stuff, so...
Jolly undead outcasts, aren't we?
Sure.
Oh, brilliant. A second chance. Wonderful. I had a feeling you'd understand. I did. But, if I were in your shoes... Who knows what I'd have done. But... now we're friends again, eh?
Not ominous in the least. Okay. So, we're gonna drop down to our bonfire. And, make our way back to Firelink temporarily. As, oh boy, do we have things to do. We've got to go to Anor Londo and seek an audience with Gwendolyn. Then, we have to, well, what else is there to do before we go confront Nito? We definitely need to kindle the bonfire at the Tomb of the Giants. Oh, we need to go see Rhea again, that's right. In fact, we need to do that first. Because she can die if we don't act quickly enough here.
Oh, I'm sorry.
I think if we did this properly, she should be at the chapel in the Undead Parish. And if she isn't, we need to claim Nito's soul first before she'll relocate. God, that's an ugly looking mask. Matches the material and overall design of the armor better than the other two would have. Well, maybe the Mask of the Mother would have looked decent. Nope, here she is.
Hello. I will never forget what you did. I am deeply indebted, for it was not within my power to save Vince or Nico. I cannot thank you enough. In case you have not heard, I am Rhea of Thorland. I only wish there was some way I could help you. But I am inexperienced, and I only know the art of miracles. If that could be of any help.
So she becomes a high-level miracle trainer for us, offering some really powerful and unique spells.
Of any help to you. I would be most pleased if that was so. May we discuss miracles then?
She will offer us the ability to rejoin the Way of White, if we're so inclined. We're not.
Vince and Nico were fooled by a lout named Hatches and turned into hollows. My prayers did them no good. It is my ignorance, my frailty that has sealed their fates. Perhaps Hatches realized my...
MC says, I only know the art of miracles. Way to sell yourself short. Well, miracles in Dark Souls, to be fair, yes, it sounds absolutely ridiculous. But they refer to a very specific subtype of magic that isn't as versatile as the other schools, as I understand it, especially in this game. Now, in Dark Souls 3, there's a lot more miracles you can cast from a lot of different traditions, and many of them are more powerful. But I like Rhea largely because she's one of the only purely benevolent, kind characters we meet in the game. To be fair, we're about to meet another one. Wait, what'd she say? Yeah. Petrus, contrary to what he said, that's the guy down in Firelink Shrine, we'll go ahead and buy some miracles from her because I guess they're good to have. She also offers the incredibly potent Wrath of the Gods. But Petrus claimed he just lost track of her, but he deliberately abandoned her. He's also been just a little ominous in general throughout the game, which, okay, time to break kayfabe here and tell you guys what's going on. If we don't meet Rhea in the cathedral after saving her within the Tomb of the Giants, say in the span of defeating Nito and one other boss after her, Petrus will murder her. For what reason, I'm not entirely sure, but he's out to kill her.
Oh, I'm suffering.
So, let me make sure. Right. Okay.
Oh, suffering.
So, we should have been able to get the next section of her story simply by talking to her, but maybe we have to kill Nito first. Alright, let's go back to just the worst place. Now, if we kindle this bonfire, which we definitely want to do, and by in the course of doing so, reverse our hollowing, we have the opportunity to be invaded by a powerful NPC as we get close to Nito's boss room that will drop a very, very special weapon and armor set that are a direct throwback to a fan favorite boss, both in and out of lore, from Dark Souls, or sorry, Demon Souls, rather. They're super powerful and fight you at a really inopportune location, but I think we can take them. Temporarily unequipped our Catalyst, if only because I feel having the ability to, like, switch to the shield very quickly is going to be more beneficial in the long run. So all that panting I was freaking about earlier, it was one of these things, the undead beasts. And, they are indeed beasts. They can destroy you easily. Like that. They're durable, they deal high damage, their attacks tend to come in sequences rather than just one-offs. And they deal ridiculous damage when they do strike. Is that another bonfire down there? Maybe. So Gravelord Nito isn't down here, unfortunately. She's much, much deeper into the caverns. We want to go take care of this giant archer without arousing the... A Black Knight. What the hell are you doing here? No! Ah! Yep, that's life in the Tomb of the Giants for you. If you're not carefully charting every single area as you go through, you will dive off of a platform or be chased off of a platform. That is why people ain't so big on this area. We'll try that again. The undead beasts are going to be our biggest problem here, with the archers following closely behind, because their arrows, being great arrows, hit really, really hard. Now, the archers themselves are fairly fragile, despite their size, if I recall. And we're dead. Yep, comboed me right off the edge. Thankfully, we didn't lose too many souls. Oh, jeez. We were fortunate enough that we didn't have to fight any of the beasts our first, like, little sojourn in this area, but there's a lot of them from here on out. And they, in concert with the darkness, I should say, are why people hate this area so much. They're sort of the pointlessness of the darkness mechanic, coupled with these enemies that are really a bit too much, designed just to capitalize off of that. If you didn't have one or the other, I would say you'd have a not fantastically designed, but decent area, but with them, no. Oh, yeah, also, sorry, I forgot about this. They have next to no rest between... God damn it! Most of their attacks, like that. Like, a lot of what you saw there were not combos. They had, like, the 2-hit and then a 3-hit combo, but they just trigger one distinct attack pattern, or one distinct attack move, One after the other, after the other, after the other. They're typically considered to be, I think, the most irritating and most difficult common enemies in the entire game. I hate that I'm burning so much humanity, but I kind of don't have a choice here if I want that special gear set. That went better than the last time. Oh god, there's a second one there. It'd be much easier to deal with this guy and the Black Knight simultaneously. Wait, where the hell is the Black Knight? Money. Okay, good. See? They're everywhere. Oh, that attack. Worst attack in their arsenal. Ugh. What was it guarding? Well, absolutely nothing. You have to fight him either without a shield, which, if we had, like, the best armor in the game, or... Oh, did it throw itself off the edge? Oh, thank you, God. It is a small comfort that, like, the edge plays no favorites. Try a plunging attack? What, is there one down there? Oh, yes, there is. Well, I'll be sure to do that. Probably, unless there's like 4 of them. Well, what's the rub here? Is this just a secret pathway? Oh, that's nice. Oh, an effigy shield. It looks very cool. I forget what it does, but we'll have a look-see once we're a bit closer to the Gravelord herself. And that is another bonfire I spy down there. Devs were feeling oddly generous today, were they? I distinctly hear 2 of them, but whatever, we'll give it our best go. Oh! Got rid of you easily enough. Now you, sir. Alright, we're making... I will say, even though I'm not a huge fan of it, the Tomb of the Giants is going much more smoothly than New Londo did. Is this our bonfire? Yes. Oh, yes. Oh, that's the good stuff. Why do I hear more of them? Probably because there are more of them. That's okay. You can handle it. This one will definitely get your heart rate up. I can promise you that. This is like a horror game. What do you have? Oh, White Titanite. Oh god. That's a lot of you. No thank you. Are there other things I can explore? I would take anything else I can explore. More money? And this nice little area actually overlooks a special zone we haven't been to quite yet, but we could have accessed at any point after Poop City. Is it invasion time? I think it's right here. You should get a very beautiful view after, well, everything we've been through. So now, at least temporarily, I'll get my catalyst back out. There he is. Scratch that, then. Now this guy hits hard. As you might expect, he's a big guy with a big hammer. And he definitely knows how to use it. It's a giant bell hammer, actually. Has a beautiful shield and armor set, but down he goes. This rapier's very good at backstabbing. So what exactly do we get? Humanity, the Grant, and the Sanctus. So we get his weapon and shield there, not necessarily his armor. Gorgeous view, agreed. It's a pity we're not a bit stronger, because I'm fairly certain the Grant counts as a blessed weapon. Well, we are closing in on the Gravelord's throne. Ouch. Yeah, of all the creatures down here, I think it's the Bone Towers that more or less act as some of Nito's final guardians. Got him. Oh, but there's one of the big archers over there, hence sniper spot. I got it. Couple of the big guys, we'll just run right past them because they can't follow us in here, to an area populated by, well, tiny baby skeletons on the floor, which, that's always fun, right? And a bunch of Pinwheel clones, technically called Pinwheel servants, I believe. The Skelebabies will poison or toxify us, again in a throwback to Demon Souls. There was a very similar area in that game that was actually a boss arena that had little toxic baby mobs running around. Now, I know there's some loot here, so we're going to brave the baby hordes to get it. Oh, we got the Mask of the Mother. You can get the masks from the Pinwheel servants. I did not know that. I thought only the boss dropped it. Or dropped them. More Titanite. Clearly they want you to have a blessed weapon here. And trust me when I say that would make this a whole lot easier on us, but we still might be able to take her regardless, because Nito is, as most bosses at this stage of the game, very powerful, but also, oh, a white Titanite slab. Very, very slow. Like, to an extent that is largely unsurpassed by other bosses. Those skeletons are going to make this a lot harder if I don't find out that, hey, surprise, I've actually got some kind of blessed weapon in our pack that we just didn't pay any mind to. But we've come this far as I'm aware, or as far as I care, it's worth a shot. We do get an attempt to prepare ourselves before we fight the Gravelord herself, though. Okay. Let's see what we've got. So we technically don't have any. I don't think, save the Grant, which we, again, cannot use because it's so damn heavy. Okay, so we're gonna have to do this the old-fashioned way. Probably bite it, then go get a divine weapon. I happen to, or have found the location of a really good one that I remember from my first playthrough, and then come back and give it a proper old college try. So let's get our catalyst out and get ready for action. You'll see that's the tomb that we had an audience with the Gravelord in. And now it's time to take the fight right to her. Oh, you still take fall damage from that? That's kind of lame. So Nito's going to take her sweet time hauling herself out of there, and you'll see the interesting thing about her is she can hit you from nearly anywhere in the arena, but, well, physically she's so frail, she collapses after a couple of her attacks and has to put herself back together again. So really, without the skeleton mobs, the name of the game here is just wait for her to tire herself out and then punish. Oh yeah, she can do that as well, though. And yeah, she'll keep raising them. Though she can kill them, it looks like, which is good. Friendly fire is... Uh-oh. If only she could perma-kill them, right? Because you can see, she herself does absolutely nothing. In fact, all she's doing, effectively, is slaughtering her own troops. Oh, that's one of the attacks that causes her to collapse, I mentioned. The problem is, without a blessed weapon, Her soldiers are just too much for us. And yeah, we're dead. So, oh dear. We just need to run and go get a slightly better weapon, then upgrade it, and use that for the first half of the fight instead of, well, what we just went through. Yeah, this is the first bonfire again, that's fine. We want to go to... Oh, what's the best way to get there? Technically Firelink Shrine, because we can use the shortcut from New Londo to get down to... Jesus! The Valley of the Drakes, which is actually where our treasure is located. It's a special blessed sword called a Stora Straight Sword. It's Solaire's weapon, and is easy to use, fairly powerful on its own, and has the bless effect that'll allow us to just tear through the skeletons. Putting them down for good and allowing us to take out Nito, well, nigh on effortlessly. And when we're done with her, not only should Rhea's story continue, but Patches should move here as well. We don't have a transient curse, do we? Doesn't look like it. That's a shame. But a blessed weapon should also automatically deal damage to the ghosts, I want to say. I could be wrong there, but I think so. So time to do the good old ghost run one more time. What does the Mask of the Mother do while we're at it? Slightly raises your HP. Yeah, stamina regen's still better, I want to say, because it allows us to get much more out of what we have. In this case, a bland but oddly effective sword. I was honestly not expecting the rapier of all things to carry us so far, but it's been really reliable. We'll need to put it on the shelf temporarily, though, to get our bless game on. Oh no. Elevator, elevator, there we go. I don't think there's a bonfire at the Valley of the Drakes. It just serves kind of to connect New Londo with Blighttown. The two best areas of the game, am I right? But there is some interesting treasure there. Hey! We're nominally on the same side. Wait, no, I'm a part of Nito's covenant now. So, we were temporarily part of the same faction, man, come on. I believe these guys are still hostile no matter what covenant you're a part of, but still. That is our third dark hand now. Now we get to fight some drakes. Basically small, dragonoid, lightning spitters. That, I mean, deal lots of damage, but are kind of easy to get the jump on when you don't have to fight them in large numbers like this. if we could just get this down to where we attack one at a time, they would actually fall pretty quickly. Problem is, for whatever reason, 3 of them are guarding the entrance to New Londo. And have pretty insane aggro range. Like, this is well into a totally different area. They shouldn't be doing... Jesus, guys, back off! Yeah, there you go. How you like that middling damage? That's more like it. There's not a ton of them either, so we should be fine. Oh god, there's 4. Oh, come on. We're taking on all comers today. This way. Wrong way. I think the Drake's AI is having some issues. Oh no, that got the other one. Well, at least you showed up in a fairly prompt manner. Admittedly, it is very funny watching their AI and substandard pathing try to just waddle their way over to us. I promise you, this is well worth it in the end. I guess. Come on, you're almost dead. Oh, that was cool. Solid maneuvering. I think I can see why Lord Gwyn must not have felt particularly threatened by these things. Waddling engines of death. Die. There we go. Now that wasn't... And he says mostly harmless. Well, we do indirectly at various points get to see what everlasting dragons were capable of, and yeah, compared to them, these guys are definitely harmless. Well, kinda sorta. The dragons, as you may have been able to intimate from everything we've learned about Gwyn and the way he does things, are really strongly implied to have been fairly peaceful, benign, distant rulers. So, these things are way more violent, sure. And tell you what, I think we're just going to try running past them because they can't keep up with us. We are on a mission here, and that mission does not involve slowly picking our way through a half-dozen murder chickens. We are headed up to the dragon corpse, right over there. Yes, it's undead, yes, it'll come to life and try to fight us. We're not going to bother with that right now. We just need the sword. We will come back during like a loot stream to gather up all the spare bits and bobs in the game that I miss, but right now, we just need that thing's sword. Night Soul. That's the one. And the Dragon Crest Shield. Ooh, you do not play around, do you? Right, we made it far enough. We can safely use a homeward bone now. MC says, reminds me of Shield Hero anime. Not seen that one. I'm not a massive anime guy, so... No, I've not seen that one at all. We want to reinforce this using the Twinkling Titanite we have. It'll just get... A hero goes and kills a dragon to protect the people. Ah, that old classic. Alright, so this thing actually deals decent physical and magical damage. So we want to go ahead and slap that on. Then the corpse rots and curses the people. Well, in this case, it looks like the poor dragon's the one that's actually being cursed. We're unable to wield it effectively with our present stats. Oh, are you kidding me? We need greater faith to use it. Ah, damn. Well, hopefully... this'll still... kill them. One moment. Going to double check. Uh-huh. Uh-huh. Well, worst case scenario... Okay, let me think about this. We already have the Ember that allows us to craft our own divine weapons if need be. And that just might be what I end up doing. Because we don't have the faith to wield this thing properly, meaning getting the most out of its effects. And, great as it is, it would cost us a ridiculous amount of souls to level up that many times just for that one weapon. So I'm thinking we could take something like one of these falchions and turn it into a divine falchion. Let's go see our good buddy Andre. MC says the shield hero comes and must solve the problem, and of course the dragon corpse comes to life, because dragon corpses can't stay dead for some mysterious game trope reason. Interesting. Might have to put that on my watch list at some point. We're going to want to head to... which one was it? Undead Parish, that's it. Yes, we are going to create an all-powerful, blessed falchion. Which, fittingly enough, is the same weapon that the skeleton swordsmen wield. We could get a divine club, but clubs ain't really our style. So we need to fashion this into at least a falchion plus 5, I want to say. So, go ahead and make with the Titanite, man. Ah, damn, we need one more. That's okay. We can get it. Soul of a brave warrior, that should give us enough. Bam.
Well, you need...
And then we'll need to use, I think, our white Titanite specifically to upgrade that one.
There are paths leading from here to two forbidden plains. Sen's fortress. They attract all. It's fine to beat. Sen's fortress is an old proving grounds.
I don't think I've ever seen any of those, actually.
Only route leading to the great Anor Londo. Of course, most fools can't even find their way into that fortified death trap. But they won't stop trying. Take that bumbling Sarangyan. I know little of the Darkroot Garden, though I've heard rumors of a divine blacksmith.
We already brought him that blacksmith's ember.
Stumped in the Catacombs seeking divine weapons.
So they just straight up tell you, here's what you want to do.
Yes, and one other thing about the Darkroot Garden. It is said to house the grave of Sir Artorius, the Abyss Walker.
Been there, fought his pet, got the ring, killed the 4 kings, never gonna wear that ring again. Give us one more, thank you. Good, now we can ascend it. Using green Titanite, okay. Now we reinforce our divine falchion if we can. And it uses green, that is so weird. Would have sworn it would have been white. You know, the stuff we've been finding all throughout the catacombs, but okay. That'll do. It doesn't have to be super strong, it just has to get us past Nito's guards. See, since Nito is so incredibly slow, what we can do is just listen for her screaming, which indicates, or telegraphs, her Gravelord sword dance. The time to farm a little, MC asks? No, this should be just fine. Remember, we don't need it to kill Nito, just as long as it deals the finishing blow on each of her guards, they can't come back to life. So as long as we thin out the pack with this sucker, and it should deal increased damage due to being divine already, and it's the equivalent of like a +6, it should be just fine. We don't need to damage her with it whatsoever. As long as we keep all the mobs crowded on the other side of the arena and continually thin them out while listening for her scream that telegraphs the Gravelord sword dance, we should be more than fine. Whoop, hold on. Let's get the old lantern out. And this time, since we know where we're going, more or less, we are going to embark on one of my trademarked panicked runs past all of the skeleton beasts. Might be dangerous, but hey, what in this game isn't? Nope. Back. Jesus! No! No! Oh, that was the wrong pathway. We needed to go one more to the right, then down and around a different skeleton beast. This run can be really nasty. We definitely need to rest at and rest at and kindle the second bonfire, the one closest to Nito's throne. Since we've got so much humanity we've not used up at this point in the game anyway, to ensure we get at least 10 flasks for facing her and the guards. And I promise you, once the guards are out of the way, she's going to prove one of the easiest bosses in the late game, far and away. Because as I'm sure you saw, she kind of doesn't do a whole lot. She's got a magic AoE that's pretty nasty, and we have to keep an eye out for, but other than that... No, 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 no. Down we go. I know this is just a secret path to treasure, but it should hopefully throw off the beast. There you are, better bonfire. Nope, it's still coming. Oh, but it's stuck. And can still hit us. So I've been, it's been ages since I've seen it, and I'm trying to catch up on, like, the show's full run. I've been watching a lot of Arrow lately, and my god, that's a good show. Like, the entire DC, television universe, the Arrowverse, I suppose it is really high-quality stuff. The best way to sort of go for a pseudo-realistic superhero canon, I think. Way more effective in that regard than the Christopher Nolan Batman films, which I actually don't like as Batman movies anyways. Action movies, they're fine, they're just not great superhero films. But the Arrow stuff, that is all of those programs. Arrow, Supergirl, Legends of Tomorrow, all great. Hope we get more programs like that. Bonfire was up there, wasn't it? Hell. One hit. One hit and a 4-hit combo took over half my health. Bonfire's over here. MC says, gotta be honest, never been such a fan of hero stories. It doesn't sound like it'd be right up your alley. I'm guessing either a little too silly or a little too idealistic for you, or both. I absolutely adore comic books and superheroes, though. Have ever since I was little. Always been more of a DC guy than a Marvel, though, which... now, don't get me wrong, the Marvel Cinematic Universe is fantastic. Those are great, high-end action films. But, I feel like the range of characters, both aesthetically and psychologically present in a lot of DC stuff, especially like the adaptations, is just far greater. I would say I'm excited for Square Enix's Avengers game that's going to be going live later this year, but damn it, it looks like a Destiny-style live service. For whatever reason, they're going for like a live service, multiplayer, always online nightmare thing, when we could have had an absolutely fantastic game in the vein of Batman Arkham or Spider-Man, which, by the way, Marvel's Spider-Man is getting... I was hoping it would be a standalone game, but like an expansion along with its PS5 port later this year. I'll be sure to check that out. It's going to star the new Superman, yes, the new Superman in Spider-Man. Crossover event of the decade. The new Spider-Man, Miles Morales, who was introduced and went through some pretty solid character development early on, or no, in that game's second act. So I'm really interested to see what they do with him. MC says, I guess idealistic hero story is not my taste. Yeah. Oh, that's fine. Different strokes for different folks. Just I hope we get more great, like, high-quality, comic book-based, shows, and games in particular, because the world of comic book games, for the longest time, was, not doing super well. So now from here, it should be a straight shot past these guys, through the Pinwheels once again, and to the Gravelord's throne. And thankfully, her boss arena is massive, meaning if we want to run from her and just focus on the big guys, or the guards, we can. They're not all big. There's a host of large and small skeletons. Thankfully, no skeleton beasts. That'd be... oh god, that'd be the worst. I think they can whack you with their little lanterns if you stay close long enough, but, you know, why would you? MC says, if you want an anime that made me cry, however, ReZero. Man, the Season 2 first episode hit me hard. Also, A Hero's Journey. I've heard of that. I want to say I have. I just... hold on. Probably haven't seen as much anime as I should to get, like, a proper cultural knowledge of what's popular right now. Okay, so... Divine Falchion out, and also if you're using a special weapon that has like a divine or elemental effect on it, you cannot buff it further with things like pine resins or the magic weapon line of spells, unfortunately. So get ready to heal that damage, because unfortunately you do take fall damage. And I'm sorry, I'll have to be quiet here to hear Nito herself. Here she comes. Oh, damn. It's really precise timing. Yep. Down they go. Is it me, or are these skeletons more aggressive than the normal ones? No! Oh no. Here's the big ones. Now remember what I said. All we have to do is deal the final blow on them with the blessed weapon to get rid of them. We don't have to actually... No, 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 no. Every time. There's such a weird... God damn it. Sorry. There's such a weird delay between when she screams and when the sword erupts from the ground. If you're looking at her, it's much easier. But... oh, God. The problem is, compared to a Storage straight sword, or the problem I'm going to have to deal with is compared to a Storage straight sword. MC says the sword erupts at the end of her scream. No, there's a delay of like a second to a second and a half, because she screams, then if you actually look at her model, like as she does this, she raises the sword overhead and very slowly like plunges it straight down into the ground. Then it erupts a second later. Much easier if you've got eyes on. Let's try that again. Take two. If we had a Storage straight sword fully upgraded, which is what I had my first time through, or largely upgraded, like to a 3 or 4 or whatever, this would be a very, very easy fight, actually. Because not only is it a straight sword, meaning it swings very, very rapidly, but it deals incredible damage to normal enemies, so would just cut through Nito's guards like butter. And again, the real problem there is going to be the big skeletons, since they're all bunched up together. Right, okay. Oh, no, catalyst. We wanted the catalyst. No, thank you. thank you. We might be able to just straight run this. Well, at least Pinwheel still kind of sucks. Good. If only there was a way to lessen that fall damage. I do not think having mandatory fall damage be incurred at the beginning of a boss fight is great design at all. I honestly think that's a mistake. Should not do it. Wait, where's the little guys? There's 2 or 3 of you. And then there's the boss lady. With 2 or 3 of the big guys on the other side. Well, wait. Maybe once we whittle down these guys, we can just take her over here without, like, arousing the ire of the bigger ones. She does have a grab attack, like everything else in this game. But once it's just us and her, yeah. She does have a magic burst attack that's very powerful. Like, very powerful. There it goes, see? The timing is so weird, but we can get that. Oh no. There it is. So, see, as I understand it, Nito is not the giant mass of skeletons. She's the giant shroud of, like, dark energy that's animating them. I'd rather take damage from her than aggro the others. Sorry. You're pretty good at this, Gravelord. I'm just a bit faster. Notice how rarely she actually uses her sword as intended. She fights primarily with magic, largely because, well, I'd imagine her physical form can't really take it otherwise, or can't do much otherwise. God, the range on that's intense. She doesn't have a ton of health either. For what she is, I mean. Oh god, here it goes again. Now the only grounds I have to ascribe, like, feminine traits to Nito is the fact that, well, you hear feminine screams emanating from her throughout the fight, so... And nowhere else is an official gender provided for or to her, including, like, genderlessness, so... or androgyny, so... I'm just going to go ahead and assume, and down she goes. There we go. See what I meant? Without her backup, she's nothing to worry about at all. Now, unfortunately, we can't level up her Covenant anymore, but we already unlocked it, so, you know, whatever. We got the Defeat Gravelord Nito trophy, thank you very much. Got a scimitar from one of the little guys, and the rest of the big ones should have fallen to pieces, right? Yeah. She's done. But we're not quite. Gotta see what this is all about. Oh, Paladin Leroy's armor, so this is where he met his fate. MC says, wrote a little ReZero summary in the meantime. It's another anime who has the hero transported to a fantasy world, like a Sword Art Online kind of thing. Except the world has a realistic take, the enemies are Joker level of monsters, and the main character has no power, just a normal dude. His only true power is in the ability to go back to a specific point in the past when he dies. He vaguely remembers what happened at first, then progressively remembers the whole alternate timeline. The save point of the past eventually progresses. Oh, so it's like Dark Souls, but anime. Well, no, sorry, that'd be Code Vein. But what's interesting is that it's really your generic smartass who read too many manga. He has to learn the hard way that he won't be accepted just because he was summoned. Interesting. Right, so it like flouts a lot of genre conventions. I can dig that. Speaking of, we just got some more soul, or more than enough souls to level up a couple more times. So I'm thinking 1 in endurance, and how about 2 in intelligence to make that buff of hers that much stronger. Now, to conclude today's stream, since we've been going for over 3 hours now, we are going to warp to Firelink Shrine, and from there access the Lord Vessel. But we're going to do 2 things. Several things, I'm sorry. We might have like another 10 minutes of the stream. We're going to go offer Nito and the 4 King Souls to the Lord Vessel. We're going to see about all our friends at Firelink Shrine. Save Thea from Rhea from Petrus, and then we're going to go have an audience with Gwendolyn, the last deity in Anor Londo, apparently. Now where on earth is old Patches? Our NPCs should be somewhere around here. A couple of them are kind of tricky to find.
Oh, I'm so...
So for whatever reason, he won't talk to us about Rhea. But, well, if we want to save her, he's gotta die, so, As he says, oh yes, that good old searching for static NPC. It's rough stuff sometimes, but most of them are more or less easy to find. Oh wait, maybe we have to offer Nito's soul to the Lord Vessel first? We can get there pretty easily, actually, by just jumping down the hole that Frampt created in the reflecting pool. What do we have? Soul of Gravelord Nito, first of the dead. This Lord Soul was discovered at the dawn of the Age of Fire. Gravelord Nito administers the death of all manner of beings. The power of this soul is so great that it satiates the Lord Vessel, despite the fact that much of its energy has already been offered to death. So we'll offer what we have. And warp our way back up to the surface. Alright, well, if he won't advance the plot line, we're gonna have to take him down anyway. Sorry.
By the lords, you damn fool. Enough of you. Feel the wrath of the gods.
Like this.
And what's he drop? Humanity. Nice, good to have. And with that, we've successfully protected Rhea, and she will continue to act as a vendor until we buy all of her miracles. Good for us. Now, the more important thing is to get ourselves on over to Anor Londo again. I'm so sorry about, like, the barking dog. That's what happens when you have, like, the neighbor's doorway directly on the other side of your living room. So we want to go to just Anor Londo. And there the transitory screen glitched out again for whatever reason.
Go ahead. Even it up.
Alright, so she's got nothing for us. We'll be heading over there at the very beginning of tomorrow's stream. Oh dear. Dog's really agitated today. Come on. Come on. So we're probably going to do the other two Lord Souls, then the DLC for the first time, then head off to see what's become of Lord Gwyn. So that's probably 2 more streams, possibly a third. I know that Seath's little campaign, or arm of the campaign, is very short, if you know what you're doing. And the Witch of Izalith's is longer, but shouldn't be quite as long as the Four Kings, nor Gravelord Nito's. Basically, hers is one great big stretch of boss fights and really adverse terrain. Oh, wrong direction. We want to go down. Alright, so we ready for a great big lore bomb? All we gotta do is slip on the Dark Moon Seance ring. And just like that, Gwyn's statue vanishes, opening a new pathway for us. We don't need that anymore. MC says, shall we study the practicality of a giant spinning elevator in the middle of a city? Well, as we quickly will learn, especially in Dark Souls 2 and 3, these universes basically operate on the rule of cool, and there's loads of impracticality throughout. Like here, for instance. This is what was being guarded, and you know that's not good, right?
Halt! This is the tomb of the great Lord Gwyn. Tarnished it shall not be by the feet of men. If thou art a true disciple of the Dark Sun, cast aside thine ire, hear the voice of myself, Gwendolyn, and kneel before me.
Well, alright.
Disciple of the Dark Sun, thou hast journeyed far. Hear my voice. If thou shalt swear by the covenant to become a shadow of Father Gwyn and Sister Gwynplaine, a blade that shall hunt the foes of our lords, then I shall protect thee, safeguarding thy person with the power of the Dark Moon.
Yep, we got the Blades of the Dark Moon Covenant. We got the Blue Eye Orb and the Blade Covenant Ring.
Very well. Now thou art a blade of the Dark Moon, hunteth the enemies of the Lord.
We can offer a souvenir of reprisal that we happen to have. Doesn't do anything unless we offer enough of them.
Welcome back, Blade of the Dark Moon. If mine power be meanest, I shall assist thee.
Right, so a couple of things. Firstly, Gwendolyn is the child of Gwyn that we have not seen depicted or glorified anywhere at all. And instead, they're down here guarding over this large ceremonial tomb that was built for Lord Gwyn, as he's, well, really considered dead at this point. Their presence is not, like, really public throughout the city. In fact, the implication is most people, even in Anor Londo's glory days, had absolutely no idea Gwendolyn existed. But out of all of Gwyn's kids, it's Gwendolyn that remains most steadfastly dedicated to his memory and doing their level best to fulfill their his wishes, like be a good child and, you know, do Dad proud. And that suffuses a whole lot of Gwendolyn's character. And unfortunately, to get the rest of Gwendolyn's lore, we're going to have to do something that I don't feel super great about, and that's fight them. If we progress into Gwyn's tomb, Gwendolyn attacks us. And you'll also notice, unless we go to confront them directly, Gwendolyn will not show themselves to us. Or himself, I should say. Out of all the gods, these great, powerful beings, Gwendolyn does not want to be seen. Or isn't supposed to be seen. And the lore's a little ambiguous on that. But now it's time for us to, well, seek after one of the only gods of Anor Londo left. And in so doing, if we confront Gwendolyn and triumph, we'll actually learn the horrible, horrible truth behind this city. You see the darkness that protects the light? Not exactly.
What foolishness.
Gwendolyn is frail, extremely frail. And he is a phenomenally powerful mage.
Mark the words of myself. Gwendolyn, thou shalt not go unpunished.
See, he's giving his all just to protect his father and his sister's memory. That's him. Now he's going to run from us while firing salvos of magic and arrows at us. Oh, those go through columns, I forgot. It's the arrows that don't. That's what his entire boss fight is like, for the record. We're gonna have to roll very, very tightly to avoid his magical projectiles and just run from the arrows. But the good news is, once we reach him, he isn't a whole lot sturdier than Pinwheel. And, in fact, well, I'm sure you could notice, too, it's pretty obvious, but Gwendolyn doesn't look like the other lords. He's not the same size. He doesn't have this ideal physical form. In fact, his legs were serpents. Oh, but now that we transgressed, she, one of his servants, is going to attack us. That's not great, and she uses a very powerful miracle called the Blade of the Dark Moon, or Dark Moon Blade, to buff her weapon, but we can cut her down pretty easily. Sorry.
But how? This man is a threat. Master Gwendolyn.
We got a Firekeeper soul out of it, but the question remains, right? What could they be working so hard to protect? Well, in Gwendolyn's case, it really is his father's memory. He just wants to do right by a parent who, as we'll discover, never really loved him or saw him as anything more than an instrument of ceremony, unlike the others. See, in Gwyn's glorious kingdom of the sun, with all of the symbolism that would go along with that, MC says, I imagine a powerful mage build could take that boss from afar. You'd be correct, but Gwendolyn is also more resistant, I believe, to magic damage than many other foes. So we're gonna have to go down and around through the gallery again. That's okay. We will actually rest at the bonfire outside of Gwyn's tomb this time. See, Gwendolyn was born with an affinity for the moon, not the glorious shining light of the sun. And, well, with the god's obsession with both symbolism and sort of the static nature of their world, that meant that he could and couldn't do or be certain things. And we're going to see exactly what it was Gwyn did to him after the battle. But suffice it to say for now, unlike the rest of the gods, radiant, vital, larger than life, Gwendolyn naturally is small and frail, and we don't get a very good look at his face in this game, I don't believe. But he is, like, also deathly pale, like, very sickly, and clearly not totally normal as well. His lower body is comprised entirely of snakes, somehow. Though that's also potentially a result of something that his father did to him. We're not entirely sure how all this works. So, what we saw is basically the way the Gwendolyn fight works. Either you kill him very quickly, or he kills you very quickly. And you have got to get your roll timing down perfectly to take him. MC says snake legs? That's more likely than you might think. Well, given, like, how powerful and, like, physical embodiments of, like, a heroic or godly ideal that his father and sister are, it is a little surprising. Come on, elevator of the gods. There you go. See, just protecting that tomb isn't all Gwendolyn's done to honor his dad's legacy, though. There's one more thing he's done. One more thing with a pretty significant cost. It's worth noting that, despite being probably the most powerful being left here, he has no interest whatsoever in actually ruling this place, and instead just wants to recruit people specifically to serve the other members of his family. There's some kind of self-loathing or inferiority complex going on there, I believe. So, you'll also notice he has the same boss music as the other moon-based boss, the Moonlight Butterfly. Alright, kiddo. I'm sorry. Oh, here come the arrows. Serpentine, serpentine. No pun intended. Oh! The roll timing on that is insane. So, he's using his own sorcery here. the idea is you kind of roll through most of the orbs, using rather your iframes to like block the damage from all but a couple of them, and then the big soul spears, the large singular projectiles, you just kind of roll through quite easily. Rolling through attacks always makes me nervous in Dark Souls 1 in particular. It's more generous in the other games, I want to say. There we go, see? That one's easy. These ones are not. What are we supposed to do? I'm trying to remember, I'm so sorry. Maybe there is a way to, like, dodge the homing soul mass, the formal name of the weird little motes of light that keep killing me. By, like, running to the side or juking around them, but I don't really remember. Now, the good news is, once we reach him, we'll probably only have to do so 2 or 3 times. Believe me when I tell you, he's, especially for this stage of the game, he's frail. Very frail. Ooh! Accidentally jumped there, my bad. There it is. No, there isn't. What am I doing wrong? Okay, let's think. Maybe if we go back to our magic-based build, or our magic armor build, anti-magic armor build. That's the one. So Havel's armor. Havel's gauntlets. Not Havel's leggings, though. The Xanthus waistcloth. Because he deals purely magical damage except with his bow. Which, I mean, will tear you up if it hits, but deals relatively little damage. Or, sorry, is relatively easy to dodge. Right, so all of that. Is there anything here with just phenomenal magic defense? Havel's shield? Well, the Dragon Crest shield reduces fire damage. The Crest shield greatly reduces magical damage. So we can use that. Unless there's something even better, which would be Havel's Great Shield, but it's way too heavy for us. Way too heavy. We need 50 strength to wield that thing properly. So 80% damage reduction's pretty good. And this just might be the best we can do for now. Still wanted the stamina boost from the Mask of the Child. So we can roll through the soul masses. Or soul spears, rather. Just not these things. Yeah, there we go. Watch. That's what 2 hits did to him. More arrows, thank you, sir. Okay, so we will need to catch him more than that. I remembered him being vulnerable for longer. Jesus. I don't think they made any of the bosses' reaction times or anything like that different from the initial release, so... I know what to do. We're going to wait until he starts using, his bow, and then close the distance. Go ahead. Take your time, sir. That's it. That's the way to do it. Are you ready to see Gwendolyn's dark secret?
Sweet.
What he was willing to die to protect?
An eternal curse upon thee.
Well, he's a master illusionist, the best mage in Gwen's entire family, and what he didn't want anybody witnessing, what he didn't want anybody to learn about his father, is, well, probably by Gwen's own morality, his greatest failing. See, Lord Gwen is gone. He sacrificed himself to the First Flame. And Gwendolyn hid down here to protect a memory. Not something that was active in the world, something that could do good, something that... just to protect the dignity of his family. And it's sad that he'd go to such lengths for a family that, as we'll learn, and particularly a father that would do nothing for him. We earn the Keeper of the Dark Moon's armor, which is really good, believe me. An empty chest, and as you see here, Gwendolyn didn't even have a proper throne, just a little chair he sat next to his father's mammoth sarcophagus. And the Sunlight Blade. A very powerful weapon buff miracle. And one, I believe, directly associated with Lord Gwen. But, see, there's one aspect of Gwendolyn's character that, only really makes sense if you examine his model. Gwendolyn, like, biologically, is female. Now, an explanation for this should be provided here. God of the Dark Sun and guardian of deserted Anor Londo. Use the soul of Gwen's last born. Okay, so it's not here, but the gist of it is, since he was born, and actually born male, with a affinity for the moon, which in the language of symbols, and in particular in Anor Londo, is associated with sorcery and femininity, his father, like, just decided, well, clearly something's wrong with this one, and forced him to undergo some kind of magical transformation, presumably at the hands of Lord Seath or Gwen himself, to fit the role he was assigned. In other words, he was forced into a compulsory, like, magical sex change, basically. And continually identified as male, but, was forced to be not only female, but some sort of deformed, serpentine thing. Because as he was, he just didn't fit in Anor Londo. He didn't fit within Gwen's world, and so had to be changed regardless of whether he wanted to or not. Hence why, for the record, I'm using male pronouns for a female-presenting character, because he did, consistently. And the game does the same. So that's what Gwen did. Also, since he was deformed and weak and all that, it's implied extensively that Gwen and the rest of the family, but the father in particular, just didn't even really want him to be around or, like, all that prominent or glorified to the extent that the others were. And despite all that, despite what we would categorize as, you know, years and years of abuse and neglect, all he ever wanted to do was be a good child and help his father and his siblings. and he died protecting their memory, not their reality. And in that regard, especially considering the way he treated us, or spoke to us before we entered the Sanctum, Gwendolyn is one of the most tragic characters in the game. He's a frail, young, frightened god left alone in a world that's trying to consume him. And MC picks up on it, yes. If Gwendolyn's a master illusionist and the last god in the city, Guinevere is an illusion? Yes, she is. Not just Guinevere, though, as it happens. Because if you recall, there were several item descriptions that said Gwendolyn left. She got married to a god from another land and left. Gwendolyn was here all alone. And he wasn't just presenting... That's another sad thing. He kind of realized people wouldn't either respect or obey him or venerate him, love him the way they did the rest of his family. So he created an illusion of Guinevere to act through because he was certain that's what people would expect, not him. He's a very sad character. But he did a whole lot more than that, because without him... Well, I should say without him... Really? Are we gonna have to go to the illusory Guinevere? I got the assumption that if you kill him, she dissipates. Or maybe we need to go to her specifically to trigger this final, like, little reveal. So yes, Guinevere is a fake. This one is, anyway, but apparently it reflects her personality in life. How is she still here?
Thou hast filled the Lord vessels in need and words success and shalt. My patience was not for you, I beg of thee.
So,
Lord Gwyn, and inherit
dude's illusions are really robust. So, MC says, way to enter a fake covenant. Well, not fake. Apparently, Gwendolyn was so powerful, he was able to largely replicate her powers. So, she's one of the only nice characters in this game. I hate this so much, but I want to show you guys everything. I'm so sorry. And with that, Gwendolyn's last illusion is lifted. See, Anor Londo is not the City of Sunlight. Not anymore. Not for a long time. Gwen's gone. Guinevere's gone. And Gwendolyn doesn't know what to do. The city's dark. And empty. And has been for a long, long time. There's nothing here. There's nobody here. There's nothing worth saving. It was great once, and helped a lot of people. But at this point, Gwen's age of fire, his age of light, exists only in memory and in lies. Just another reason we want to take this mother down and, you know, maybe provide the opportunity for something new, something beautiful to be built here. The possibility of a new day, a new era that's actually better for everyone. That's what I'm fighting for. And that's why we need to bring down the Duke and seek an audience with the witch. That we can finally put all this to bed and help new people, new gods, create a better world. A world that'll last. Because this, kids, this ain't cutting it. MC says not a city, but a tomb and a ruin. A tomb, yes. A ruin, no. It's actually remarkably well preserved. And things like the Silver Knights and the Giants, they're still around. They actually are real. But all the light and life in Anor Londo that made it seem like this promised land, not anymore. And as you can see, this area has largely been claimed by the Dark, and it's okay. So maybe that's a little spot of hope amongst all this. The end of one power structure, the end of one godhood, doesn't mean the end of godhood and of hope and of potentiality. It just means there's new potential. And it's up to us and our great big pokey sword to see that potential fulfilled. So I want to thank y'all for joining me on for this particular stream of Dark Souls. We got a whole lot done, finally got those 4 kings behind us, and took down 3 other bosses besides. And aside from them, we've got, I believe, 4 bosses in the main game and 4 in the DLC until we reach Lord Gwyn, so maybe 2 more streams of Dark Souls, and we'll have reached the end of our run. Thank you, MC. I really appreciate it. They say thank you for showing us this gem of a game. It's a beautiful game, and there are far, far better playthroughs available on YouTube, more concise ones as well. Again, I really advocate I advocate all of you check out TB Skyens. That's initial T, initial B, SKYEN. Series analyzing the boss designs of Dark Souls, and he's got another one that's currently in the works, releasing weekly, discussing the boss designs of Dark Souls 2, because not only are his playthroughs really carefully edited to maximize, from stream archives you can access, to provide like maximum comedy and enjoyment, but he's an especially trenchant analyst of this world and the way its characters are designed and the ways that in which design and lore kind of intermix. He's an art historian, I believe. Just a really clever, great guy. I recommend you go check his stuff out. But I will be back tomorrow, probably from 5 to 8, from 2 to 5 again, because I feel like I have more energy for these afternoon streams, and if we're playing something other than Dark Souls, for whatever reason, I have a feeling we'll draw a larger audience during that period as well. My best streams seem to be the earlier ones. So I do hope you'll join me for that, 2 p.m. Central, for the next 2 Lord Souls and maybe the very beginning of the DLC. We'll see. All right, thank you all so much. Have a wonderful rest of your day. Bye-bye.